Most people think they need a team before they can call themselves an agency. A designer, a copywriter, a media buyer, maybe a project manager. And suddenly, before they have even earned $1, they are already trying to manage people they cannot afford. But your first agency client does not care how many people are sitting behind you. They care about one thing. Can you solve their problem? And that changes everything. Because you do not need to build a company before getting your first client. You need to build an offer, then find someone willing to pay for it. The team can come later. In this video, I'll show you how to get your first agency client without employees, without a full-time team, and without pretending your business is bigger than it really is.
We project a
When you are starting
30%
an agency,
increase in qualified
hiring
leads by
feels productive.
Q3, translating
browse
directly to
freelancer
customer
profiles.
acquisition.
You
That
compare
growth is exactly
portfolios.
what we need.
You create team structures. You imagine how everyone will work together. It feels like you're building something. But if there is no client paying you, there is nothing to manage. Your first job is not building a team. Your first job is proving that somebody wants to buy what you are selling. Think of the agency in two separate parts: sales and fulfillment. At the beginning, focus almost all your energy on sales. Once you have a real project, you can build fulfillment around actual demand instead of guessing what you might need someday. The easiest way to make getting your first client difficult is offering too many things: web design, SEO, content, paid ads, branding, email marketing, automation, social media. Now your potential client has to understand 8 different offers, and you have to figure out how to deliver 8 different services. Instead, pick one service with one clear outcome. Maybe short-form video editing for local businesses, lead generation for B2B companies, website design for service businesses, Google Ads management for a specific type of company. The exact service matters less than the clarity. You want to be able to explain what you do in one sentence. If explaining your agency takes 5 minutes, your offer is probably still too complicated. Here is another mistake beginners make. They believe clients are buying their team. Usually they are not. Clients buy outcomes. A restaurant owner does not wake up thinking, "I really need an agency with 3 freelancers." He thinks, "I need more customers." A consultant does not want your organizational chart. He wants qualified calls on his calendar. An e-commerce brand does not care whether 12 people or 2 people produce it cares whether the work performs. So when you approach a potential client, do not make your lack of a team the center of the conversation. Talk about the business problem. Talk about the result. Talk about the process. Sell the outcome first. Now comes client acquisition. And this is where most cold outreach goes wrong. People send. That message could have been sent to anyone. And that is exactly why nobody cares. Instead, research the business first. Look for something specific. Maybe their website is outdated. Maybe they are running ads to a weak landing page. Maybe they rarely post content. Maybe competitors dominate local search. Maybe their videos have strong information but poor editing. Find a visible problem connected to the service you sell. Then your outreach stops sounding like a sales message. It starts sounding like an observation. Your first outreach does not need to be a masterpiece. Its job is not to close the entire deal. Its job is to start a conversation. Something like, "I was looking at your business and noticed something about your current lead flow. I have an idea that could help. Would you mind if I sent it over?" Short. Specific. Low pressure. You are not sending a giant proposal to someone who does not know you. You are creating curiosity. And once they respond, now you have permission to continue. The first yes you are looking for is not, "Here is my credit card." It is, "Sure, tell me more." Later, you may build systems that send hundreds of outreach messages. But when you are trying to get client number 1, you need information more than automation. You need to learn. What makes people respond? What problems get their attention? What objections appear? Which industries seem interested? That means 10 thoughtful messages can teach you more than 500 generic ones. Your first outreach campaign is not only about getting clients. It is market research. Every response teaches you how to improve your offer. Every rejection gives you information. And every conversation makes the next one easier. Eventually, someone may ask, "How big is your team?" Do not panic. And do not invent 10 employees. You can simply explain that you run a lean operation and bring in specialists depending on what each project requires. That is normal in service businesses. In fact, a flexible delivery model can be an advantage. You are not paying people to sit around waiting for work. You assemble the right resources when a project requires them. But there is one rule. Never promise capability you have no realistic way of delivering. Lean is fine. Fake is not. You do not need the full team before the client, but you do need a plan. Before selling a service, know where you could find someone capable of delivering it. Create a short list. Not employees. Options. Find 3 or 4 freelancers who appear capable of doing the work. Review their portfolios. Understand their rates. Understand their turnaround times. Know roughly what the project would cost you. This way, when a client says yes, you are not starting your search from zero. You have already mapped the fulfillment side. You just have not committed money before there is revenue. And this is where the middleman model either works or falls apart. Suppose you sell a service for $3,000. If fulfillment costs $2,800, you do not really have much of a business. You have a stressful transaction. Before you quote the client, estimate. Fulfillment. Revisions. Software. Your own management time. Potential unexpected work. And then leave enough room for profit. The goal is not simply to charge more than the freelancer. The goal is to create enough margin to operate the business properly. Now imagine the client agrees. This is when fulfillment becomes real. You collect the initial payment. Confirm the scope. Confirm the timeline. Then you bring in the specialist needed for the project. This order matters. Client first. Revenue second. Fulfillment third. Instead of hiring people and hoping work appears, you are connecting costs directly to paying projects. That makes your business much lighter in the beginning and far less financially dangerous. But outsourcing does not mean abandoning the project. The client hired you. That means you still own the relationship. You communicate deadlines. You review work. You make sure the freelancer understands the brief. You solve problems before they reach the client. You become the layer between the client and the specialist. That layer is where much of your value lives. Because clients are not only paying for production, they are paying for convenience, coordination, reliability, accountability, and one person who takes responsibility for the result. This is especially important when you are not doing the technical work yourself. Before the freelancer's work reaches the client, inspect it. Does it match the brief? Is anything missing? Are there obvious mistakes? Would you feel comfortable putting your agency's name behind it? You may not be the best designer, editor, developer, or marketer in the room, but you need enough understanding to recognize whether the output is acceptable. You do not have to be the specialist. You do have to manage the specialist. And do not assume your first client must come from 1,000 cold emails. Look closer. Former coworkers. Business owners you already know. Friends who know business owners. LinkedIn connections. Local companies. People you have previously worked with. Your first client often comes from a weaker connection than you expect. Tell people clearly what you now help businesses do. Not, I started an agency. Say, I helped this type of company get this specific result. That is much easier to remember and much easier to refer. Another beginner trap is spending weeks building the agency before selling the agency. Perfect logo. Perfect website. Perfect social media profiles. Perfect portfolio. Perfect email signature. Meanwhile, nobody has been contacted. Your first client is unlikely to hire you because your website has impressive animations. They hire when they believe you understand their problem and can solve it. You need enough credibility to have a professional conversation. You do not need 6 weeks of branding before sending message number 1. Build credibility while you sell. When someone agrees to talk, do not spend the entire call explaining your agency. Ask questions. What are they trying to achieve? What are they currently doing? Where is the process failing? What have they already tried? What happens if the problem continues? Then determine whether your service actually fits. The strongest sales calls do not feel like a presentation. They feel like a diagnosis. And when the problem becomes clear, your offer becomes easier to understand. You are not convincing them to buy a random service. You are connecting your service to something they already told you they need. When it is time to make the offer, keep it simple. Do not send a document containing 15 packages. Explain what you will do, what result the work is designed to support, how long it takes, what the client needs to provide, what it costs, and what happens next. Clarity makes a small agency look organized. Complexity makes an inexperienced agency look even more inexperienced. Your first proposal does not need to prove how intelligent you are. It needs to make the decision easy. Now the part nobody wants to hear. Your first 20 prospects may ignore you. The next 10 may say no. One sales call may disappear after promising to respond. Another may tell you your price is too high. That does not automatically mean the agency model is broken. Client acquisition is a numbers game combined with constant improvement. If nobody responds, improve the message. If people respond but do not book calls, improve the offer. If calls happen but nobody buys, improve the sales conversation. Do not change your entire business after every rejection. Find the specific stage that is failing. Then fix that stage. Because your first client is worth more than the revenue they pay you. They give you evidence. Now you know somebody will buy the offer. You learn how long delivery actually takes. You learn what freelancers really cost. You discover where revisions happen. You learn what clients ask for. You create real processes. And if you deliver well, you may get a testimonial, referral, or repeat work. Client number 1 turns assumptions into information. And information makes building client number 2 much easier. This is why getting the first deal matters more than looking like a large agency. So if you have been delaying your agency because you think you need a team first, stop building for clients you do not have. Choose one service. Understand the problem it solves. Know where you could find specialists to fulfill it. Understand the numbers. Then start conversations. Get the client. Collect the revenue. Build the delivery around real demand. Your agency does not become real when you hire 5 people. It becomes real when a client trusts you enough to pay you to solve a problem. And once you have proven that once, you can improve the offer, build better systems, develop a stronger freelancer network, raise your standards, and gradually turn one successful project into a real remote agency. The beginning does not require a big team. It requires a clear offer, a real client, and the ability to connect the right people to the right problem. That is the Middleman Money model. If you want more practical strategies for finding clients, outsourcing delivery, protecting your margins, and building a remote agency without doing every task yourself, subscribe to Middleman Money. Because your goal is not to create another job for yourself. It is to build a business that can eventually operate beyond you.